Hello, and welcome to the Sweet Southern Sports Podcast, where we talk about the SEC sports. Today, we'll be talking about the preseason SEC predictions for the football season. I think it's going to be a really exciting year in the SEC. They're really, really deep in this conference, and I really think that they're going to have a lot of really exciting games to watch. So, first off, number one in the SEC this year, I do have the Georgia Bulldogs going 11-1, 7-1 in the conference. I think this team just has so much talent all over the place, really well balanced. I think the wide receivers will learn how to catch the ball this year. They have some really good transfers coming in. The 7-1, the one team I have them losing to is the Auburn Tigers. They have to go on the road to Auburn in the middle of the year. I just think it's about time that Auburn finds a way to beat this team, but also usually just going on the road at Auburn is just a dangerous place to go. I think that could be one of those surprising games where something crazy happens. So I think they do get a loss there. But Georgia's a really good team. I do have them going 11-1 and leading the conference. Number two, I have the Texas Longhorns going 10-2, 7-1 in the conference. I think Texas is going to be super good. I do have them losing to Ohio State in the opener, and then as well as losing at Georgia later in the year. But Texas is one of those teams that you have to definitely watch out for with Arch Manning leading that squad. Also, when it comes to it, their defense is just really explosive. They have a lot of freak athletes all over the place. I think that defense is going to surprise a lot of people. I do have them with wins like going to the swamp and getting a win. Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry. I think we'll see that. Um, they have a win against Texas A&M at home. So this team does get some big wins throughout the year, but I do think they fall twice to those top level opponents. Next, you have number three Alabama going 10-2, 6-2 in conference. This team is going to be super explosive. They did just say Ty Simpson will be the quarterback for the Crimson Tide. I think that's going to be really, really good for them. I think he's a super talented player. I think he's going to lead them well. The only losses I have for him is going at Georgia and then also at South Carolina. I think both of those environments are just going to be insane, and that offense may stall out just a little bit at times throughout those games. But I think Alabama is well positioned with so much talent and so much returning players that they're going to be a really scary team to run into, especially if they make the playoffs, which they should at 10-2. Number four in the SEC, I have the LSU Tigers going 9-3, 6-2 within the conference. I do think LSU is one of the most explosive teams when it comes to their offense. They really should be able to throw the ball all over the place. I just think the problem is that I just feel like consistency will be an issue for this team. I just feel like when they get away from the run game and they go too pass heavy, I feel like the defense will have some times where they look elite and then other times where they look kind of average, okay. I think that will come back to bite them. I have them losing at Clemson. I also see them losing later in the year at Alabama and then also at Oklahoma. So when that offense stalls out a little bit on the road, because that's going to happen, where you probably see their scoring go down with the crowd noise a little bit. I don't know if their defense is going to be able to withstand those teams that they're facing on the road. So I do have them going 9-3, 6-2 in the conference. So a good season, but maybe not what the LSU Tigers want this year. Next up, we have the Texas A&M Aggies. I have them going 9-3, 6-2 in the conference. I think this team's going to be super good. Texas A&M does have at Notre Dame on their schedule, which is tough. So I think that's where they get one of those losses, and then they also have at LSU, and then they lose at Texas. So they have three really, really big games. I think they lose those gigantic games, but I think they make them extremely competitive. The rest of their schedule, I really just think this team's going to ground and pound on teams. Mike Elko, their head coach, loves to run the football. He's all about physicality. I think they're going to lean on a lot of teams and really be able to burn some clock and just keep going at it, going at it, and then in the fourth quarter, they're going to break a lot of teams. So I do see Texas A&M having a really good year. Their biggest wins, highlight wins, would be I have them having Auburn at home, Florida at home, and then also I think they beat South Carolina at home. So also their schedule lines up really nice, where I feel like a lot of their games that they should win are at home. So they should be able to handle those, and then their toughest games are actually on the road. So again, when it comes to that, maybe they pull an upset and they can get in, but they're again right on that bubble spot. The sixth team in the SEC is I have Oklahoma going 9-3, 5-3 in the SEC. Oklahoma, I'm really high on them this year. I think John Mateer, the transfer from Washington State, is going to be super good, especially with his offensive coordinator coming over from Washington State as well. This team's defense was extremely good last year. It's just Jackson Arnold, who's now the quarterback at Auburn, was just did not fit well at all. The offense was atrocious. They had a lot of injuries. I think this Oklahoma team shocks a lot of people, and they have a lot of upsets. They have probably a top 5 toughest schedule in the country. I think they get big wins against Michigan this year. I think they beat Auburn. I think they beat Ole Miss. I think they beat at Tennessee. And I think they beat LSU to close out the year. So there's some big wins in there. Their losses, I do think, come. They have Texas, the Red River rivalry. They have at South Carolina. I think they lose that one, and then at Alabama. So they're again some pretty good losses still. But when it comes to I think Oklahoma is definitely a threat to make the playoff this year. Next up, we have the South Carolina Gamecocks. I think South Carolina is one of those teams this year that we'll have to see how much how much Sellers, I could not think of his name. Sellers at quarterback does. The kid's an absolute freak. I think with that, with him at quarterback, I really do think he has the ability to lead that team to some extra wins on the schedule. The real big problem comes is that defense. I think that defense lost quite a bit last year. They only had 5 returning starters. I think that may show up a good bit in some of their games. I do have them opening the season 5-0, and then after that, it just kind of goes to a very 50-50 finish. But they have games against Clemson, at Texas A&M, at Ole Miss, at LSU. They have Oklahoma at home, Alabama at home. They have a very difficult schedule. So I think that's what kind of holds this team down. But don't be surprised if Sellers steps up and leads them to making a playoff kind of level team. Again, they also have Dylan Stewart on the end on defense, which is crazy. He's a freak. So watch South Carolina games if you want to be surprised of how athletic some of these players are. Number 8, I have the Auburn Tigers. This is a big year for Hugh Freeze. He's been really struggling at Auburn when it comes to just getting wins and consistency. I think this year he gets some big wins, but also has some tough losses. So I think they open the year losing at Baylor, and then they also lose to at Oklahoma, then at Texas A&M, and then I think they lose to Alabama at the end of the year. But I do think they have that big win over Georgia that I shared earlier, so that would be a huge highlight to their season. I think they win the games that they're supposed to win. So that's why I have them going 8-4, 5-3 in conference. Again, I think they'll be able to handle a lot of the schedule that's ahead of them. Number 9, I have the Florida Gators. I think DJ Lagaway is an absolute freak, but they have the toughest schedule in the country, like no doubt about it. They play at Miami, at LSU, Georgia and Jacksonville. They have Texas at home, at Texas A&M, Mississippi or Ole Miss on the road, Tennessee at home, Florida State at home. They have a lot of tough games this year. I think if DJ Lagaway can stay healthy, I think this team has a potential chance to make the playoff. But just overall, with the wear and tear that they're going to have throughout the season, I think that they lose at LSU, Texas at home. At Texas A&M, they lose, and then also the Georgia game. But they'll have a lot of big wins of beating at Ole Miss, at Miami, at Mississippi, Ole Miss. So again, they'll have some big wins. But I think the Florida Gators, with that tough schedule, is going to go 8-4 this year. So maybe not what the Gator fans want to see, but again, I think this team is a really, really good football team. I think Florida fans should be definitely happy if they go 8-4 this year. 10, we have the Ole Miss Rebels. They have not been used to being this low in the SEC. They've been doing pretty good these last few years. I think that they're pretty good offensively. They're just kind of a balanced team. They have a lot of transfers coming in, so they're going to have to rely on them. Again, I think that the team's just kind of average. I don't think they will beat the big teams. So LSU, at Georgia, at Oklahoma, and then also Florida will walk in. I think they win the games that they're supposed to win. But again, just going 4-4 this year, I think Ole Miss is going to have a little bit of a down year, but still definitely respectable at 8-4. Tennessee, I have them going 8-4 and then 4-4 in conference as well. Tennessee lost their quarterback this offseason. I think I would have probably thrown them one more win in there if they had Nico, but I think this quarterback will be good that they have Joey Aguilar. But I have them losing at Florida, at Alabama. I have them losing against Georgia at home, and then also Oklahoma at home. They have a pretty favorable schedule actually when it comes to the SEC. But again, I just think this team lost so much offensively and then a little bit on defense that it's going to show up quite a bit. At number 12, I have Missouri. Missouri, I just feel like they had a really great year last year. They had some key players like Luther Burden. They've now lost him. They've lost Cook at quarterback. I think they're just going to have a lot of transfers running around. I don't know if it's going to mesh together very well. So I do have them going 6-6, 2-6 in the conference. This is one of those teams that could surprise, but there's just not a lot of answers that they have. It's a lot of guessing and hoping. So we'll have to see if that really plays out. But I have them going 6-6 this year. Vanderbilt, I have them going 5-7 with such a tough schedule. Um, I think they will come a little bit short of a bowl game. They have at Virginia Tech out of conference, which is tough. Then at South Carolina, at Alabama, LSU at home, Missouri at home, at Texas, Auburn at home, at Tennessee. They just have a lot of really tough games. I think they could be really fun to watch. They return a lot of players, and they love to waste that clock and make games close. So watch out for Vanderbilt to pull an upset here or there, but people are also going to prepare for them more. As last year they like shocked Alabama and shocked Auburn. So there's just teams will be ready for them. I think that's going to show a little bit this year. Next, you have Arkansas going 4-8. I wanted to give more wins to Pittman. I think he's a great coach, but it just feels like that program's just going downhill. I think it's time for a new voice in there, and I think it's going to show in this team. They just don't have the firepower to keep up with the SEC. There's just, again, too much talent on the teams around them. They do have a great quarterback. They do have Green back there. I think he can run around. So maybe they shock and get like a couple more wins. But with their schedule, it's so brutal. They probably have again a top five, toughest schedule in the country, and I think it's going to show. So I have Arkansas going 4-8. Kentucky going 3-9, 0-8 in the conference. This one's a big one. Excuse me. As Kentucky has just really never been this low in a while, especially under Stoops. But I feel like Stoops has just kind of slowly been having Kentucky fade, and this year it's going to really hit hard. Again, just the talent level and the depth that these other teams in the SEC have is just so much more. I think Kentucky may, again, pull off an upset here or there, but they're going to have a very tough year. And then finally, the last team, 3-9, 0-8, the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Again, same situation as Kentucky. They really just don't have the depth and just don't have the skill at the player positions that everybody else has. They're a little bit slower. And again, not as physical. So I feel like they're just going to have games that maybe they stick in it for the first half, but then the wheels may just come off and they're going to get destroyed in the second half. I think that will happen a good bit. So that's Mississippi State. I think they'll have a pretty tough year this year going 0-8 in the SEC. So with all that shared, brings us back to the SEC championship. We'll all have Georgia versus Texas. This will be a rematch of last year. Well, actually, in the game, Georgia's quarterback went down, and that's when Stockton came in and just stepped up to the plate and got Georgia the win. I do think Texas has really struggled with Georgia. Texas is like that's the team that Texas dreads the most. But I do think Texas has a really good defense this year. I think Arch Manning can make some plays of his legs, but this Georgia defense is just different. And also Kirby Smart just gets him ready to go. But after all is said and done, I think at the end of the day, in a very close game, I have the Texas Longhorns becoming the SEC champions for the very first time. I think Texas is just, I think they're going to be able to make some plays and get the win over a Georgia team that's been through a lot. I think the Georgia Tech game will push them a good bit and just that back end of that schedule. But I think Texas again will step up to the plate. Arch Manning leads them to the SEC championship in his first year as the starting quarterback. Well, thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe and look for more content as the weeks follow.